our managerial economics tutorial questions, specifically for the evening and the weekend students. Okay. So we are continuing with the question 11. So with question 11, it states that a firm owns a mineral spring in an area where no other source of water is available. It has the possibility of selling mineral water to the domestic and foreign markets. The domestic and foreign demands are Q1 is equal to 32 minus 0.2 P1 and Q2 is equal to 60 minus 0.5 P2 respectively. The total cost of the plant installation STC is equal to 2000 plus 10 K, where K is equal to K1 plus Q2. The total cost of the plant installation STC is equal to 2000 plus 10 K, where K is equal to K1 plus Q2. A. What prices should the firm charge to maximize profit with discrimination? B. Show that the monopolist charges a higher price in the relatively more inelastic market. C. How much profit does the monopolist make with price discrimination? D. If the monopolist decides not to price discriminate, what price should be charged in order to maximize profit? A. How much profit does the monopolist make without price discrimination? F. Which policy is better from the perspective of the firm? So with our first question, or first let's remove the information. So we're given two markets, domestic and foreign markets. So this is the weekend and the evening tutorial question. So evening stroke weekend tutorial question. So this is tutorial question 11. So we have domestic market. So with the domestic market, we have Q1 is equal to 32 minus 0.2 P1. So that's for domestic market. Then the next one we have foreign market. So with the foreign market we have Q2 is equal to 60 minus 0.5 P2. Then we're given total cost. Total cost in the question. We're given TC is equal to 2000 plus 10 K. So this was our total cost. So we have domestic market. Q1 is equal to 32 minus 0.2 P1. You have foreign market. You have total cost. Now they gave us a condition stating that where Q is equal to Q1 plus Q2. So I'm starting with the A part of the question. So with the A, what price should the firm charge to maximize profit with discrimination? It means that with the A, I'm finding for what? Discrimination. So with the A is with discrimination. So with discrimination, it means per the question, what prices? So it means I'm going to find for price. And also find for what? Quantity. Okay. So when we say with discrimination, it means you have a bargain. Sorry. When we say with discrimination, it means you have a bargaining power. So for instance, if you go to Makola market and let's say a tuber of yam trades for 400 cedis, you might talk to the seller to reduce the price. The seller indicated that I will sell a tuber of yam for 50 cedis, but since you don't have enough income, you would like to buy that product for 40 cedis. It means you are bargaining for what? The price of the product. So once you have a bargaining power, it means you are what? Discriminating within what prices. That's what we call with discrimination. So always with discrimination, you have various prices in the market. Now, as the opposite for without discrimination. Without discrimination, we need just a single price. So without discrimination, there is no bargaining power. When you go to Medina market and they are selling a handkerchief for 50 cedis, everyone is supposed to buy it at that stipulated price to be what? 50 cedis. You do not bargain for it, and there is no price reduction for it. That is without discrimination. So with discrimination, remember, so you are going to have two prices in the market. So I'm going to solve with discrimination for domestic market, also solve with discrimination for foreign market, because we have two markets in question, and with discrimination we need two prices. So the first one, I'll solve for domestic market. I'm starting with domestic market. So with domestic market, we're given Q1 is equal to 32 minus 0.2 P1. Now you always have to, so this thing is our demand function that was given in the question. So you always have to make price the subject. So you're making price the subject with this variable 0.2 P1. I'll move it to the left hand side. It becomes positive 0.2 P1 is equal to, this is 32. You move the Q1 minus Q1. Since you are finding for P1, you divide both sides by the coefficient of P1, which is 0.2. So this side to 0.2. So this moves out. So I have P1 to be, let me use a calculator. So I have 32 divided by 32 divided by 0.1, divided by 0.2. We have 160 minus, now there's 1 year, but we don't write 1Q1. So 1 divided by 0.2, which gives us 5. So 160 minus 5, you bring back the variable 5Q1. So this is our initial price. So this is P1. So price 1. That's what I've done, P1. So since we have our P1, we can find for total revenue. Now remember, this is P1. This is total revenue. Since we have P1, it means I'm supposed to find for total revenue 1. Now, it should have been, this is what we know, P times Q to be total revenue. But this is P1, so you can't maintain P. So you add 1. So this is P1. This is also Q1. It must correspond. So total revenue 1 is equal to, so the P1 is this. So that 160 minus 5Q1 times this Q1 here. So this is Q1. So we expand it. So total revenue 1. So 160 times Q1 would give us 160 Q1 minus 5 Q1 times Q1 would give us 5 Q1 squared. So this is our total revenue 1. So since I have total revenue 1, now take note, with this question, you can use either the first, order condition and that of the second order condition. Remember this, we did it in optimization. Now you can use it, it can also be applied to this particular question, but our focus is just on first order condition. You can also use the concept that says that marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost condition to also solve this question. So this particular one is a bit simpler. So with this question, I'm going to use the MR is equal to MC concept to solve the question. So since I have total revenue 1 year, I can find for marginal revenue. We get marginal revenue out of total revenue. We get marginal cost out of total cost. So to find marginal revenue, with marginal revenue, I will find the derivative of total revenue with respect to Q. So total revenue 1 was, so take note it's Q1 because we are dealing with Q1 and P1. So total revenue 1 is 160 Q1 minus 5 Q1 square. So we are finding the derivative of total revenue with respect to Q1. So we are finding for Q1, this is Q1, this is also Q1. So Q1 cancels Q1 out. We are left with 160 minus, in indices, whenever we have this to an exponent, this exponent comes down, it multiplies this. Then you subtract 1 from the exponent. So it means 2 times 5, which will give us 10. So we subtract 1 from the exponent, which is 2, we get 1. So we have 10 kill 1. So this is our marginal revenue. So since this is total revenue 1, let's do it marginal revenue 1 so that we don't get confused. So marginal revenue 1. So this is our marginal revenue function. I'm trying to add another page so that we can continue. So you guys can be going through what we've done so far as I find a new sheet. Okay, so let me continue here. I don't know, I was trying to swatch it, but it ended up that it's rather moved to the left hand side. I don't know why. So you let me continue. So we have marginal revenue there. So now it means I need to also find marginal cost. So with the marginal cost, which is MC. So we know marginal cost, we find the derivative of total cost with respect to Q. So the total cost in the question was given as this: 2000 plus 10Q. So we are finding the derivative with respect to Q. So MC is equal to Q cancel 2000, because we are dealing with Q, not 2000. Q cancel Q, we have 10. So marginal cost is equal to 10 here. So we can now find marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost, where the marginal revenue was this, what we solved here, this one. This was our marginal revenue. So we have 160 minus 10Q1 is equal to marginal cost. The marginal cost is this. We had 10. So we group like it. So this is 160. 10, you move it to the left hand side, minus 10. You move this, it becomes positive 10Q1. So 160 minus 10 would give us 150. So I have 150 is equal to 10Q1. So since we are finding for Q1, this is over 10. This is also over 10. So Q1 is equal to 15. So this is Q1. So we have Q1 now. So now we can find for the price function as well. Since I have Q1, I can find for the price. So with a P1, remember we had a price function here. This is it. This one. So P1 is 160 minus 5Q1, where the Q1 is the 15 we just solved. So this is P1 is equal to 160 minus 5 times 15, where P1 is equal to, so 160 minus, so take note, we started from the side, this is the continuation. It was because of my page split, that's how come it got to the left hand side. I'm sorry about that. So 160, it won't happen again. In the next lesson, I'll try and check it. So 160 minus 5 times 15, 5 times 15 would give us 85. So I have P1 to be 85 cedis. So we've done that of this is domestic market. So with the domestic market, we have done it. So this is Q1 for domestic market. This is P1 for domestic market. So we'll do the same thing for foreign market as well. Sorry for the positions. So we started from the side, and this was the continuation of it. So we move to foreign market. So with the foreign market to, let me scroll down so that, or if possible, let me do it this way. With a foreign market, okay, so from the question we have Q2 is equal to 60 minus 0.5 P2. So you also have to make P2 the subject. So you move it to the left. So P2, so sorry. So we are making P2 the subject. This is 0.5 P2 is equal to, so we have the 60 here, we move the Q2 minus Q2. We are making P2 the subject, so we divide both sides by, this is 0.5, this side to 0.5, this side to, this is 0.5. So we have this. So P2 is equal to 60 divided by 0.5. 60 divided by 0.5 would give us 120 minus, remember there is 1 here, so 1 divided by 0.5 would give us 2. But so you attach the variable, so 2Q2. So this is P2. So this is price 2, which is the P2 function. Now we can find for total revenue 2. The first one was total revenue 1, so it was P1 times Q1. This is total revenue 2, so it's P2 times Q2. So total revenue 2 is 120 minus 2Q2 times Q2. So total revenue 2 is equal to 120 times Q2 would give us 120 Q2 minus 2Q2 times 2Q2 would give us 2Q2 squared. So this is my total revenue 2. So since I have total revenue 2, I can find for my marginal revenue. Please, I'm coming on. Sorry, I'm back. So with the marginal revenue, so we know with marginal revenue, we find the derivative of total revenue with respect to Q. So I have, this is 120 Q2 minus 2Q2 squared. So you have find the derivative with respect to Q. So remember that we are dealing with Q2. So Q2 cancel Q2, I have 120 here minus, remember this, 2Q2 squared. The power would come in front and multiply this. So 2 times 2 would give us 4. Subtract 1 from the exponent, we have 1, so 4Q2. So this becomes our marginal revenue 2. That's for foreign what? Market. This one. So since we have the marginal revenue, remember the total cost runs through. And total cost, when we did the derivative of the total cost, it gave us 10. Check. In getting marginal cost, we found the derivative of total cost, which gave us what here? 10 here. Okay. So now we move to a different page as well. So this is, oh, I want a different page. Oh, why is my page layout misbehaving? I think I need to work on this in our next video. Okay. So we had, so remember we had MR is equal to 120 minus 4Q2. So I can find now marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. Take note that the marginal cost runs through. When we found the derivative, we had marginal cost to be 10. So the marginal cost, it runs through. So marginal revenue, so we had 120 minus, sorry, it's 4Q2. Because 2 came there, 2 times 2 is 4. And the variable itself is 4Q2. So 120 minus 4Q2 is equal to the marginal cost, which is 10. So maintain 120, move the 10, so minus 10. Move this is 4Q2. So 120 minus 10 will give you 110, which is equal to, this is 4Q2. You divide both sides by the coefficient of Q2, which is 4. So Q2 is equal to 110 divided by 4, which will give us 27.5. So Q2 is 27.5 units, or just 27.5. So since I have Q2 here, I can find the price function. So with the price function, it was from this side, there is it. So P2 is equal to 120 minus 2Q2, where the Q2 we solved was 27.5. So P2 is equal to 120 minus 2 times 27.5. So P2 is equal to 120 minus 2 times 27.5 would give us 65. So the new price, which is P2, is 65. So this is P2 and Q2. So let's move to the next question. So with the next question, we are solving the question 11. So with a B, show that the monopolist charges a higher price in relatively more inelastic market. So B. So with a B, show that a monopolist. So show that a monopolist show that a monopolist show that a monopolist charges a higher price the in the relatively more inelastic market. Inelastic market. So with a B, show that the monopolist charges a higher price in the relatively more inelastic market. Okay, higher price and relatively more inelastic market. So we are aware that they are charging what? Relatively more what? In we are aware that they are relatively charging a higher price in the relatively more what? Inelastic market. So they want you to prove it by showing working. So what we have to do is we have to do it for domestic market and also do it for the foreign market. So this is domestic market. So with the domestic market, remember inelastic, it's talking about what? Elasticity. So elasticity, so this falls under own price. So we have derivative of QS respect to derivative of PS times PS over QS. So now this is domestic market. So take note with this. So we'll go and pick the prices and quantity for the domestic market. So take note. So before we start, so we need the demand function that was given to domestic market. So it was Q1. So let's go and check. So Q1 is 32 minus 0.2 P1. That was domestic market. Q1 is 32 minus 0.P1. Or let me confirm the number. It's 32 minus 0.2 P1. Sorry. So 0.2 P1. Now, with this particular side, we have find a derivative of QS with respect to PX. So when you come to the function given for the domestic market, which is this thing here, function given for domestic market. We are saying we find the derivative of QoS with respect to PS. So what you have to do is you would come to the price side of this function, then you pick the number attached to the price. So this is P1. So the number attached to the price is what? Minus 0.2. So the whole of this will be minus 0.2. So have EPX. This is minus 0.2 times. So with the domestic market, what was our price and quantity? So domestic market. With domestic market, our price was 85, quantity 15. Price 85, quantity 15. So you have price 85. Then we have quantity 15. So we use the calculator to see the answer. So minus 0.2 times 85 divided by 15. That would give us minus 1.13. Minus 1.13. Remember, with own price, we always take absolute what values. So this is 1.13. So now show that a monopolist charges a higher price in relatively more inelastic market. So you can say it there. You could say it here from this side. So you know less than 1 is inelastic, greater than 1 is elastic, equal to 1 is unitary. So we are all aware that the firm is already charging in what? Inelastic market. So we just want you to prove it. Is it okay? So it was after taking the absolute value before we realized it's what? Elastic. And we are saying that show it that the monopolist charges a higher price, relatively more elastic. So in concluding with this, I'll say that it's less elastic and more inelastic. So I've proved it. So now you have to move to the foreign market as well. The pages are really disturbing me. So now we do it for foreign market as well. So I just did it for domestic. So I'm doing it for foreign market. So this one, remember this is still part of the B, question B. So with the foreign market, so they gave us Q2. Q2 was equal to, let's go and check the function. So foreign market. So foreign market, there's it. 60 minus 0.5 P2. 60 minus 0.5 P2. So the formula still holds. So derivative of QoS over derivative of PX times PX over QoS. So we have this. As I explained earlier on, with this particular side, you just have to, you are finding the derivative of QS with respect to PS. You just come to the price side of the function, pick the number attached to the price. So this is the number attached to the price minus 0.5 times. So what was price and quantity for Q2? So Q2 was 27.5, P2 was 65. So P was 65 and Q was 27.5. So price, this is 65 divided by 27.5. So we have EPX to be, we have minus 0.5 times 65 divided by 27.5. We have minus 1.18. So in absolute terms, this gives us 1.18. So we have to interpret this as well. So remember that we are already aware it's what? In an inelastic market. So this is less elastic. And since it's already in an inelastic one, so it's more inelastic and less elastic. So in comparing the two, we had this one at first 1.13 and the next one was 1.18. In comparing the two, 1.13 would be preferred to 1.18 because this is more inelastic as compared to that of the 1.18. So this will be preferred to the monopolist. This will be preferred to the monopolist, yes. So that's all for the B part of the question. So you move to the C part of the question. Sorry for my page numbering, but when you go through following how we are doing it, you get to know the arrangement. Yes. In our next video, I'll check out for the page as well. So the C question. The C, how much profit does the monopolist make with discrimination? How much profit does the monopolist make with price discrimination? Remember, the A part we solved was what? With discrimination. So we've been asked to find the profit for with discrimination. So profit for with discrimination. So profit. So profit for with discrimination. So remember that profit is total revenue minus total cost. And remember that with the total revenue, which we all know is total revenue as price times quantity. Now remember that with discrimination, I stated earlier that we have two prices, and there was as a result of the two prices in the question that gave us two total revenues. But per the formula here, it's just what's total revenue. We don't have total revenue 1, total revenue 2 here. It's just total revenue. So what we have to do is we have to merge all the two total revenue functions together as just one single total revenue, so that we will be able to substitute it into this profit function. So remember that we had total revenue 1. So total revenue 1, how did we solve it? It was P1 times Q1. It's either you use the you use the, how do we call it? You use the total revenue one function, or you use the formula for total revenue one, which is P1 times K1. So with P1, our answer was 85. K1 is 15. So 85 times 15. So I have this side. So this is 85 times 15. So 85 times 15 would give us 1. So 85 times 50 give us 1, 2, 7, 7, 5. So we also had total revenue 2 from the question. Total revenue 2 was P2 times Q2. So let's check P2. What was P2? Okay, P2 was 65 and Q2 was 27.5. So 65 times 27.5. So 65 times 27.5 would give us 1787.50. So since we want total revenue, it becomes total revenue 1 plus total revenue 2. So total revenue is equal to 1275 plus 1787.50. So our total revenue becomes 1275 plus 1787.50. We have, this is 3062.50. So this becomes our total revenue. So since we have total revenue now, we just have to find for total costs. Then we now solve for the profit. So total costs. Total cost function in the question was given as 2000 plus 10K. Now, take note, in the question, they gave us a condition. In the question, they said K should be wherever we see K, it should be what? K1 plus what? Q2. So K, where Q is Q1 plus Q2. So we have Q is equal, so let's check for Q1. What was Q1? Q2 was 27.5 and Q1 is 15 and Q2 is 27.5. So Q1 15, Q2 27.5. So Q is equal to 15 plus 27.5 would give us 42.5. So let's check again. So this is Q2 27.5. Then we have Q1 15. So 27.5 plus 15 will give us, this will give us 42.5. So this is our Q. So we pick total cost. So this is 2000 plus 10 times 42.5, because this is where the cure was. That's why I placed the 42.5 there. So total cost is equal to 2000 plus 10 times 42.5. It gives us 2425. The total cost is 2425. So this is our total cost. So since this is our total cost, we can now find for profit to be total revenue minus total cost, where profit is total revenue. This is total revenue 3062.50 minus total cost 2425. So profit is equal to 3062.50 minus 2425. So profit is 637.50. So this is our profit for with discrimination. So this is the C part of the question. Let's go to the next part. So the D part of the question states that if the monopolist decides not to price discriminate, we are deciding not to price discriminate, what price should be charged in order to maximize profit? If the monopolist decides not to price discriminate, what price should be charged in order to maximize profit? We are deciding not to discriminate, or the monopolist decides not to discriminate. It means that without what? Discrimination. So that side we are going to solve for without discrimination. So that's the D part of the question. So this without discrimination. Now, remember that in the question it stated that Q should be equal to Q1 plus Q2. So what we have to do is, so this is Q. So sorry, with Q1, let's check what was the function. So in the question, Q1 was giving us 32 minus 0.2 P1. This was it. And this one was domestic. This was the domestic market. They also gave us Q2 to be 60 minus 0.5 P2. This was foreign market. Okay. So we are saying Q should be Q1 plus Q2. So this is Q. Q1 is 32 minus 0.2 P1 plus Q2 is 60 minus 0.5 P2. Now take note. Remember that I stated earlier on that without discrimination, we need just what? A single price. We don't need various prices. That's with discrimination. Without discrimination, there's no bargaining power. So you always pay the stipulated price being given by the seller. So we just need a single what? Price. So what we have to do is, there is a condition that we have to adopt. So we have to do it. So P1 should be equal to P2. which should give us P. So P1 is equal to P2 should give us P. It means that wherever we see P1, we see P2, it should be replaced by what? A P. So I have Q is equal to, this is 32 minus, so 0.2. This is what? P1, but they are saying I should replace it with what? A P. So 0.2 P plus 60 minus 0.5. Everywhere I see anything apart from P, I should replace it with what? A P. So we now simplify that. So 32 plus 62, 32 plus 60 would give us, this is 92 minus, so minus 0.2 minus 0.5 will give us minus minus 0.2, then minus 0.5 will give us minus 0.7, minus 0.7 P. So this is our demand function. So now, since we have this, we can now find our price function. So we have Q is equal to, this is 92 minus 0.7 P. You have to make price a subject. You move it to the left, it becomes 0.7 P is equal to, this is 92, you move this minus Q. We are finding for what? P. So we divide the side by 0.7. This one 0.7. That side to 0.7. So this moves out. So we have P is equal to, so 92 divided by 0.7 give us 131.43 minus 1 divided by 0.7 give us 1.43. Remember there's a Q here. So this is our price function. Okay. So we can now find for our total revenue. So total revenue, is price times quantity. So total revenue, price was 131.43 times, sorry, so 131.43 minus 1.43, this is Q, times Q. So total revenue is equal to 131 times Q is 131.43 Q minus 1.43. Q times Q is Q squared. So this is our total revenues function. Remember that our marginal cost is still the same. The marginal cost, we were given marginal cost, we found the derivative of total cost with respect to Q. And total cost was given as 2000 plus 10Q. So you find the derivative of this. Marginal cost is equal to 10. So we can find MR is now equal to MC, where the MR. We have to find MR. So with the marginal revenue, we find derivative. So this is the condition. With marginal revenue, find derivative of total revenue with respect to kill. So total revenue, we had 131.43 kill minus 1.43 kill squared. So in finding the derivative of this, kill cancel kill, so I have 131.43 minus the power, so 2 times, so 1.43 times 2, that would give us 2.86 kill. Remember 2 minus 1, so this is marginal revenue. So since I have marginal revenue, let me add more this thing. So now the MR, remember, so we have MR is equal to MC. So MR, we have 131.43 minus 2.86 kill, which is equal to total cost was 10. So this is 131.43 minus 10 is equal to, we move this to the left hand side, this is 2.86 kill. So 131.43 minus 10, that will give us, this is 121.43, which is equal to 2.86 kill. So we divide both sides by 2.86, this side to 2.86. So kill is equal to 121.43 divided by 2.86. So kill is equal to, this is 42.46. So you have there, so 42.46. This is 42.46, which can approximately be 42.5 units. So we have kill now, so we are supposed to find for price. So with the price function, we had P is equal to 131.43. So we have 131.43 minus 1.43 Q, where Q is equal to 42.6, which is the 42.5. So let me just do it. 42.5. So 42.5. So P is equal to 131.43 minus 1.43 times 42.5. So P is equal to 131.43 minus 1.43 times 42.5. So P is 70.7. So this is the price for without discrimination, and this is the quantity for without discrimination. So I think we have to move on to the next question. My laptop is going low. Let me put it on charge. So I'm moving on to the E. So the E, how much profit does the monopolist make without discrimination? You see with the previous one, we found for with discrimination, and we also found for the profit for with discrimination. Now we are dealing with without discrimination. We also have to find for profit for without discrimination. Let's check which letter was it. That's E. So E. E. Profit for without discrimination. So profit for without discrimination. So the same formula for profit. Profit is total revenue minus total cost. Where total revenue is price times quantity. So with the total revenue, our price was 70.7 times our quantity. Quantity was 42.5. So total revenue is equal to 70.7 times 42.5. So total revenue was 300. So 3004.75. So this is our total revenue. So take note, you already know the total cost because we've solved it previously. So total cost, which is TC. So our total cost is total cost. We've already solved it. Yes, there's it. There's our total cost. This one. Total cost 2425. Total cost 2425. 2425. So it means we can now find for the profit, which is total revenue minus total cost. So profit is total revenue minus total cost. So the total revenue is 3004.75 minus total cost is 2425. So the profit is 3004.75 minus 2425. So profit is 579.75. So this is profit for without discrimination. So without discrimination profit. So let's move on to the next question. So with the next question, we were given E. Which policy is better from the perspective of the firm? Which policy is better from the perspective of the firm? Oh, sorry, I didn't check the letter. Which policy? That's the F. Which policy is better from the perspective? Which policy is better from the perspective of the firm? So which policy? They want to know whether they should pick price discrimination or without discrimination. So without discrimination is without discrimination. So without discrimination, our cure was 42.5. Without discrimination, our they didn't ask us to find, but our price, which is P, was 70.7. Our profit was 579.75. Now, with discrimination, Q1, we had Q1, we had Q2, we had P1, we had P2. With discrimination again, we had profit. So let's go and pick their value. So with discrimination, so let me write it. So with discrimination, let me write it. Q2 was 27.5. P2 was 65. Q1 was 15, Q2 was, so Q1 is 15 and P1 was 85. So let's check out for the profits for with discrimination. So profits for with discrimination. So profit for with discrimination is 637.50. So let's go back to what we were doing. So profit for with discrimination. So the Q1 was 15. You can check it out from the solutions we've done so far. Q2 was 27.5. P1 was 85. P2 was 65. And the profit was 635. So this is profit. This is also profit, but this is profit for what? Without discrimination. This is profit for what? With discrimination. So which policy is better from the perspective of the firm? So you compare. Now, if you check, so here Q is what? 42.5. So let me compare based on the output side. Q is 42.5. Q1 is Q1 is what? 15. Q2 is 27.5. So this is Q1 plus Q2. So if we do it 15 plus 27.5, 15 plus 27.5 would give us 42.5. So in comparing this, so you notice that with discrimination we only sold for a single what quantity, but with discrimination we sold one quantity 15, another quantity 27.5. These are various what quantities, but without we sold just a single quantity. And in the question they stated that Q is equal to Q1 plus Q2. If I add this two, it's giving me the same 42.5 as without discrimination. It means that whether with discrimination or without discrimination, we will still produce the same output at a given cost. Because as you check from the side, these are two things giving me 42.5, just one thing giving me 42.5, but we are all using the same total cost. It should have differed, but since we are all giving the same total cost and it's giving us the same output, it means that whether with discrimination or without discrimination, we still produce the same output at a given cost. So without discrimination too, we have a profit of 579.75. With discrimination we have a profit of 635. So although we were discriminating between prices, we were bargaining, we had a higher profit as compared to that of what? Without discrimination. So the policy recommendation would be, I would prefer the monopolistic producer to choose with discrimination, or to discriminate between prices as compared to without discrimination. So with the policy recommendation, the monopolistic producer, the monopolistic producer should go forward with discrimination, because it brings an outcome of what? A higher what? Profit. So that's all for the question 11. This is how we solve it. I would try and work on, how do we call it, my my slides. Seems the arrangement, yeah. But once you follow per the slides, the solution, the way I was solving it, you get to know the arrangement as well. Let me see if I can do something about the arrangement. Trying to see if I can do something about the arrangement. But I believe if you follow closely with the way I solved it, you get to know the arrangement. I'm trying to see if I can arrange it. I think I have to prepare on that in our new lesson to rearrange it well. I'll work on that. But I plead with you guys to follow it closely with me to get the format, the way I solved it. So I'll save it and send it to you guys. Tutorial question 11. So I think that's all for today.